What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne,
I'm Alicia.
and this is Black Board Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there.
Waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya, complicate ya.
Hey,
everybody.
So, a couple nights ago, we played this game called The Quest for El Dorado. Now, Dice Tower had their Summer Spectacular last week, and one of their top 10s, they talked about this game and how easy it was to play. Now, I was immediately attracted to the game because of the theme. I had heard about the game before, but when they talked about how easy it was, when my local board game store got a copy, I picked it up. Because I was wondering, is this a game I would be able to get my wife to play? You know? And so would the theme draw her in or whatever? Because when all is said and done, I pretty much will play anything. Except for zombies. I won't do anything with zombies. But my wife, I used to refer to her as a casual gamer. Alicia, do you still consider yourself a casual gamer?
Actually, I do.
Why?
Because what you just said, I will not play anything. I love games, but something about the game has to appeal to me.
Okay. So, which brings us to the topic of this video. I was curious, what draws you to a board game? What attracts you about a board game? Now, I have some things that I would like to say, but I'm going to play off of you.
Okay.
You know?
right.
So I think we should just go over some things.
Okay.
Now, what first attracts you? Name the first thing that attracts you to a board game.
Well, obviously, for me, theme.
Theme. Okay.
If it's a theme, if it's a topic, if it's an activity that appeals to me, that's going to capture my attention. An example is votes for women.
Yeah, you do like history.
I love history.
You love the history as a theme.
I love history as a theme. Well, I love history as a theme if it is done well.
Okay.
So, votes for women, just that was a theme that I really wanted to try. Suburbia, building a city, that was something that captured my imagination. Trekking the world, these are all games that I wanted to try just because the theme resonated with me.
Now, I have to say that theme does do a lot for me. I have my favorite themes. I love not fantasy. I love pirates. I do like fantasy. I love nature themed games. I love games where you're exploring. Per se, the quest for El Dorado. But another thing, I had to go another level. The theme has to be unique for me.
See, and that's one thing that I don't have to have. It doesn't have to be unique. It could be, in fact, if it's too unique, that might actually be something that makes me hesitant. So I don't need uniqueness. Familiarity is comfortable for me.
Okay, I got that. But what I mean by uniqueness is like there was a time where Wingspan would have been considered a unique thing. Now there's so many different nature games that I'm wondering what. Now I'm looking for what would make me want to play this game other than this game. You see what I'm saying? So there's fantasy themed games, okay? And when most people think about fantasy, they're thinking about dragons and warriors and orcs and gnomes and stuff like that. But there's a game that the Brothers Murph speak highly of. It's called Dungeon Pets. It's an older game where you're selling fantasy creatures. Pretty much, you're selling fantasy creatures to wizards and knights and all that. And I want to try this game out based on that. Another game, like I said, Flamecraft. fantasy world, but the dragons, like I said before, they're not Game of Thrones dragons. They're more of How to Train Your Dragon dragons. So they cute little dragons. What's another game that I had on the table? Merchants of the Dark Road.
Okay.
It's a fantasy theme, and I know you're not into magic and all that, but in this game, you pretty much are a merchant, and you're just taking folks where they want to go. You're not out fighting armies and all that. It's not a skirmish, dudes on the match. You're just a guy taking something from point A to point B. So that's what I mean by the uniqueness of a theme. It don't have to be crazy unique. Like, there's a game that I really would like you to play. I think you would like it. It's cute, and that's First Rat.
No. And see, that theme matters to me.
Right.
Because unlike some people, I don't say it's just a game. I think there's an implicit message in everything. And to me, in real life, rats are not appealing. So you're not gonna change that.
I know.
I
I get that, but you missing out. But I I totally understand what you're saying, because what's that movie? Ratatouille.
Yes.
Being as someone who works in the kitchen, I watched the movie, I enjoyed the movie, but I still felt some kind of way about rats in the kitchen.
Exactly.
I get that, but I'm okay with that. So, enough about theme. What else draws you to a game?
Okay. So theme is the thing that probably...
Enough about that.
Another thing that gets me is table presence. There have been times when I wasn't thinking about a game,
Right.
but I saw it set up on the table.
And I'm sitting there narrating.
And I'm like, okay, this looks sweet. What is this? I gotta check it out. One game that really comes to mind is Succulent.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember.
When I saw Succulent set up on the table, it was just so pretty that I had to play it.
Oh, I get it. So you're pretty much saying aesthetics.
Yes, aesthetics can really make me want to play a game. Table presence, components, another game that the theme kind of was appealing to me, but honestly, when you set it up and I saw those components, was Seize the Beam.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
the detail in those components, I was like, okay, now I got to do this game.
I got you. And I feel the same way. I do feel, but I'll go a step further. I'm like wondering, how well does the aesthetics or the components contribute to the theme of the game? Like, for example, Honey Buzz. How squishy the nectar was, or Everdell. Like, Everdell, my favorite game of all time. Just put it out there, yet again. The berries. The squishiness of the berries, the wood, the resin, the pebbles, all that. You had this big tree in the middle of the table. And like I said, the tree served no purpose, but I like the tree.
Table presence.
Yeah, table presence.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know how well the components fit into the actual gameplay until I play the game.
Right.
But the components, if they're done well enough, will make me want to try the game.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, and I get that. All right, so what's another thing that draws you in to a game?
Mechanics.
Mechanics?
Oh my goodness. Mechanics are a huge part of gameplay.
What you're doing.
Yes, what you're actually doing. So some of my favorite mechanics are worker placement, set collection, and action selection. So a lot of times when you're trying to sell me on a game, or if I ask you, hey, what's that game about? And you say, well, it's You tell me the theme, and I'll ask you, well, what do you do? And if the mechanics sound appealing, I'll be like, okay, yes, I want to try that.
Right, but I do have to be careful to make sure it's a theme you
Yes.
are attracted to. Because
Yes.
there are some horror games that have set collection in it. And I know
Yes.
you're not going to play them.
Yes.
But that's okay. You
Yes.
know, because there are so many games out there. And that's the thing. It's so many, wide variety of games. Some games just fall under the radar. Some games are the hotness or whatever. But there's always games coming out. So if it's something you don't like, that's okay because there'll be another one.
Some of my favorite games have a set collection element. I'm thinking Floriferous,
Yeah.
Trek in the World,
Yeah.
Parks.
Okay.
I mean, there are other things I like about those games, but set collection is definitely one of the things I like. Everdale.
Yeah.
I like Everdale because it has.
Is Everdale a set collection?
No, I was about to say
Oh,
something else.
okay.
Everdale I like because it has a lot of mechanics, resource management,
Yeah.
card management. So games that have appealing mechanics are games that I'm going to enjoy.
Okay. Now, mechanics are a big thing for me. It depends on what you're doing in the game. Like recently, Queen has the city collection. They have it's Hamburg, Amsterdam, and Marrakesh.
Okay.
And I played all three.
Okay.
You know, and Marrakesh the big one. I love Marrakesh.
Okay.
But if I was to say out of all those three, it would have been the one that I liked the most was Amsterdam.
Okay.
Because they had this mechanic how you get your resources. Like you got this wheel and you pick the die, and however many pips are on the die, you get that number of cubes. But the thing is, you can't use those cubes yet. You have to place it in the 4 slot. Right now, you're in the 1 slot. So it spins every time each round. That wheel spins, and I really enjoyed that little mechanic, you know, and that's what I mean by uniqueness. You know, I like it. Doesn't have to be a unique theme. It could be a unique mechanic, a unique setup, a unique component, something like that. You know, that makes it stands out.
Now, I think I'm actually the opposite. Like, obviously, novelty has its place, and novelty can be interesting. But I think a lot of times I'm appealing. What's appealing to me is something that's familiar.
Okay.
If it's like, for instance, the first time I played Meadow, when I saw that you drafted your cards the same way you did in Quadropolis.
Familiarity.
That made me feel comfortable. Like, okay, I can do this.
Okay. All right. Is there what else? So you said theme, you said aesthetics, you said mechanics. Is there anything else that draws you to a game?
So, the level of complexity. I don't want to play games that are too hard, that are too heavy. I like the right balance of complexity. So I like some games with a little complexity, like maybe Genotype.
Genotype, yeah.
Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yeah.
But if it's too complex, if it's too much going on, then that's going to be a turnoff for me.
Now, you know what? The thing is, even though you said that, I realized theme is more important to you because you were attracted to the theme for woodcraft. And woodcraft, that ain't no slouch. Woodcraft is not a slouch. So you actually put in your effort to play that game, and you did really well.
Because theme gives me a framework for a complex game.
Right. Okay.
Genotype, I have a framework.
I got you.
So if a game has an appealing theme, and if it's thematic, even if it's more complex, that theme gives me a framework for understanding how to play it and for being strategic.
Now, I like a little complexity. I like for it to be a puzzle that I'm trying to figure out. So, like, I've been playing Turing Machine, and I know it's not a game for you. But as someone who loves, that puzzle of a Sudoku or whatever, I really enjoy the puzzle in this game. So I like a little complexity. The thing is, to touch on your complexity thing, what draws me to a game is ease of play. Is this something that I could teach you how to play or teach other people how to play, and it doesn't have a lot of fiddly rules or whatever? Because, what did we play? Cascadia. We heard about the expansion coming out, and I was like, pick a game. And she actually picked Cascadia. And so we played it. It was easy to set up. I looked at the rule book like briefly just to make sure I was sure about one little rule. But once we did that, I was like, we played it and we were done. Or like I said, Quest for El Dorado. It's a deck builder. Rules are pretty simple. And that's why I was like, I think she might be able to get into this.
Now, the truth of the matter is, that actually is something that could be a deal breaker for me.
Right.
If a game is too hard to learn.
Yeah.
I remember one game you were teaching me that I really enjoyed, Public Market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game. I love it. It's thematic. But I was almost ready to say, nah.
Yeah,
because when you were explaining it, it was just so much to it. But again, because of the framework that the theme built, I was able to hang in there and find another love.
Okay, yeah. Now, is there anything else that draws you to a game?
Well, two more things. One thing that I really like is I like cooperative games. I just like the idea of them, the fact that we play together. So, every cooperative game is not going to appeal to me, but if it's a theme that I can roll with and it's cooperative, that's something that's appealing to me.
Okay. What was the other one?
There's one other thing that makes me willing to try a game that I might not otherwise try.
What?
And that's if you have actually played the game, enjoyed it, and said, I think this is a game that Lisa could enjoy.
So you're not saying I'm picking up the box and saying, oh, you might like this game.
Yes.
I have to have actually played it and then be able to say with a vote of confidence,
yes,
you will like this game.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I wasn't always able to say that, but we've been doing this long enough. I think that you have learned to read me better, and so you have gotten a lot better at when you say, I think you will like this game. After you've played it, you have not disappointed.
I'm going to get her to play First Rat.
No, he's not.
I'm telling you, I think you would like that game.
No.
But, okay. It might take a little time, but it's going to happen.
So, remember, he's forgetting my first rule, theme.
No, trust me. Anyway, now, you've said some good points about what draws you into a board game. And I agree with all of them. Now, there's one that sometimes, before I even know the theme, before I even know the mechanics, and before I even know the aesthetics, the one thing that draws me in is art. I'm telling you, art. I really am a stickler for great artwork in a board game.
Yes.
That's how I learned Everdell. That's how I saw Everdell on the Kickstarter page. What is this game about? There's some games that I just looked at the cover. I'm like, what is this game about? And I mean, there's some times when I looked at the cover of a game and the art was great, but then I read the box and I was like, nah, this ain't a game I'm gonna play. But art plays a big role for me. You know, I mean, that's why, like I said, Everdell is my favorite game of all time. It has the art, it has the mechanics, it has the theme, it has the aesthetics, it has everything, you know. And there's some other games that's in like my top 5 that have all those things. So, you know, I agree with everything you said.
You know, I appreciate great art in the game, but I can't honestly say that there's a game that I've played because the art in and of itself drew me in.
I got you.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you something that makes me curious about a game.
What?
If it has an intriguing name. Now, I'll be like, that's interesting. But if the other things don't match up, like if the theme or
Right.
the mechanics, then I'll be like, oh, never mind. But sometimes an intriguing name will do for me what art will do for you. It at least make me look at that game or want to know more about it.
Okay, I can say it because yeah, you like words and all that. You know, like I remember and I always hear all the other content creators talk about this game, and I love the game, but dang, I forgot the name of the game because it's so long. Merchants of Explorers or something like. Oh wow, I can't think of the name. But anyway, are there any more?
Mm-mm.
Can you think of anything else?
No.
All right. So those are some of the things that draws us into a board game, you know. And in the comments below, let us know what are some things that when you're looking to purchase a board game or play a board game or something that you know that you find attractive or that's going to draw you in, you know. If you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And I'm Dwayne.
I'm Alicia.
This has been Blackboard Gaming.
We will see you next time.